Hype, hype. Come with me tonight. Get to see. I wanna be with you. Hype, hype. Come with me tonight.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to E20 Zone TV's Have Your Say. The Graham Potter revolution is here. We've all got our bayonets and we're ready for war. Do you know what I mean? Out there on the mean streets of the Premier League. To my right is Jay. He was there last night. He is going to tell me all about it. And Jay, go ahead. What are you saying about last night, son?
3 points, isn't it? Happy days. That winning feeling is back.
Yeah.
Couldn't be happier with the 3 points. It was a tough game. I was very proud of the way we went about it. I don't know about you. I caught like a little bit of the afterthought. I caught a couple of people on there, but didn't see the whole thing. I thought it was the gritty kind of performance that we needed when we had we're down so many important players. We had players playing out of position, and I thought the players who were out of position were like they worked their socks off. In Soler and Paqueta, I thought they worked really hard, even though they were so clearly out of position. Paqueta just couldn't get in the game, but he didn't stop trying. So fair play to him, and delighted for Soler getting his goal as well. So, mate, a cracking result. I didn't expect us to necessarily create a lot, and we didn't. The good old days of 4 shots, 3 goals, 40% possession are back. We are there. But, mate, I would take it. If it means you win every game or you win more games than you don't win, then I'm here for it. I've got no problem with it. We had to grind it out, and we did. So, yeah, a great result, mate. Really happy with it. And on to Saturday, I say.
Tim has been found in a brothel house in Brazil breaking news. Told you. Listen, we will get to Mr. Timothy Steiden because he's going to get cooked and also on this video tonight. Last night's game, it was all about the win, really, to a point, and seeing how Potter can handle his team under sort of severe circumstances. I'm going to be honest. I thought West Ham played pretty well in spells in the game. Like, I'm going to be honest. And then towards the last 10 minutes, it was like, cover your eyes and let's just try and get through these last 10 minutes. What do you think of the goals, mate? Obviously, Soler's goal was a great goal. When you see that camera angle behind the goal, he's got that much to aim for, basically, and he's put it in that area. What are you saying on Soler's goal, mate?
How well did he strike it as well? On this sort of weird half volley, like inside of his boot and bends it around the defender's leg. Yeah, what a finish, mate. I thought it was like... I actually feel, do you know what? I actually don't care what like pundits or anyone else says about West Ham because we're the ones who watch us every week. We know when we've been crap. We know when we've done well. No one's really given us justice for how well we actually did when we were out of possession. I'll come to the bit that I thought we didn't do well in a moment, but generally pressing upfield as a unit, it looks like we weren't just pressing needlessly like we have been, and especially early on in the season when we would trigger a press just for the sake of it. Players were out of position, we get cut through straight away. I didn't feel like we were getting cut through, but we triggered the press at the right times. We nabbed it twice and we scored twice. Like it was pretty simple to see. And we didn't get enough credit for that, in my opinion, but who really cares? To be honest, I don't care what anyone else says. So I was really happy for Soler, his performance and his goal as well. The thing I thought during the first half, because Fulham kicked to me in the first half, so most of the goals were down the other end for me. As I was like, we're not really closing down Alex Iwobi very well. And what happens is he plays in 2 straight balls and both of them go straight into the back of the net, which was frustrating to say the least. And it was odd, wasn't it? Like, I actually thought generally the midfield played pretty well, but we just gave him too much space and he hurt us in the second half. We faded again in the second half. It's to be expected. We're so light on bodies. We haven't got a great subs bench. Like, we managed to score more than the opposition, so I'm not going to complain too much. But I thought the midfield was good for the most part. I just didn't see what Guido Rodriguez brought to the team, to be honest. I thought he was just a passenger in that midfield, personally. But
what did you make of the Kudus substitution? Because some people on X act like right pricks. And like saying, oh, he's fucking shit. He's done this. He got offside. Some people, like myself, use common sense and say, well, he's the only runner that we've got in our side, and all the rest of them are statues to a point. What are you saying about it last night with him?
So on Kudus in general, I thought the first 20 minutes when we were under pressure were not surprising whatsoever. The game was being played in front of Fulham. We didn't have a player whose natural tendency is to run in behind, which is what Bowen normally does in a team, which is what Somerville kind of does in a team as well. We didn't have anybody that was going to be direct. Shout out Colin. The change that was made at 20 minutes tactically was like so obvious, but it was so effective, which was literally Mo tuck in and make runs in behind. And we were trying to find him, and it stretched the game. And it's what eventually led to us being able to press and score the first goal. So what Mo did really, really well in that first half was change what he was doing, listen to the instructions, and stretch the game brilliantly. I thought on the ball he was pretty good in the first half as well. We were finding him. He was trying to get out of tight spaces. He was getting it. He was bopping it. He was finding when he was in tight spaces, he wasn't just trying to turn players for the sake of it. He was looking. He wasn't losing the ball that often. And when he knew he couldn't get around someone, he'd recycle it, get it back to the keeper, would go right away. So he did that really well in the first half. Second half, I thought he was just gassed. I thought he looked exhausted. So when he came off, you could feel it around the stadium as well. There was this like shriek of horror when his name got called, and everyone around the stadium, a few people went to boo, and they were like, hang on, it's Graham Potter's first substitution at the stadium. And you could feel everyone was shocked, and you could see Mo was disappointed when he walked off. But I thought he was cooked, mate. I purely thought he'd run out of legs, and I think we're going to need him. We've got no bone.
I agree with you on that, yeah.
I think it's one of those hard things where you look at the main man being taken off, but at the stage of the game where we needed more running, I actually thought at the time, I thought Danny Ings was the right player, and his press ends up causing the third goal. So it was hard to take. I think anyone saying that he was shit is an idiot. He wasn't. I thought the first half he was
completely agree, mate.
He was tired. The same as what happened on Friday. He had a good first half, and in the second half, he just looked exhausted, and we had to take him off. So I think it was more trying to manage him, knowing that we're playing again. I think he's one of those players that didn't necessarily get on with a previous manager, probably didn't get on with his methods of doing things. And we'll need that break where we've been knocked out of the FA Cup. He'll need that break where he gets a few days off, can reset, and then we'll come back better for it. So I think we got the best to come. But I just purely think it was managing his minutes. If we lose Mo Kudus, we are absolutely screwed. So I think that's the reason.
I agree with you. Last night, looking back, like you're going to react to it. It's the 68th minute, 70th minute mark, and we're taking off one of our best players. I'm thinking, what the fuck is going on here? I don't think that game ends 3-2 to us if we don't get that third goal. I'm going to be honest. I think we need that third goal. Once we got the third goal, we had that sort of comfort blanket. If they do score another one, we can shut up shop and just see this out. Nevertheless, I do agree with you, and I do agree with what George says in the chat. Well, he's got to take him off. If he picks up a needless injury, then we're out. We're without him. So I get that aspect, but I was pretty shocked with it. We need pace in our ranks and urgently. Like, obviously, he can't do it on his own. Somerville can't do it on his own. Do you know what I mean? And them two players are really sitting on an injury at the minute. Somerville's got the injury, and Mo isn't fully fit to a point. So, yeah. Let's talk about one man who seems to get a lot of hate, and he just keeps putting the big finger like that to the people. That is Mr. Thomas Souček. What did you make of him last night? Because I thought he was my man of the match last night.
It'd have been close for me. I wouldn't disagree with anyone who thought Souček was the man of the match. I personally would have probably just given it to Alvarez. I thought Alvarez was excellent. Yeah, I thought Alvarez was absolutely brilliant, and I thought the pair of them worked really, really well as a two. I thought they were let down a little bit by Guido, who just didn't really offer anything. But I thought Thomas Souček was fantastic. I think he's improved so much as a footballer in terms of getting the ball and moving it. We know that his strengths are like positioning, and we know his strengths are aerial threat. Whilst he didn't have a game, did we actually have a corner yesterday? I don't remember us having a corner. He didn't really get any opportunities to get into the box, but positionally he was great, and on the ball he was great. Yeah, mate, he was just solid 7.5 out of 10. Can't say anything bad about him. Took his goal well enough. I don't know whether he meant it to go where it went, but the point is he was right place, right time. And he slotted it home. And he's just Mr. Reliable for West Ham. If he kicks on and gets 10 goals this season, then he's got to be hammer of the year, realistically, isn't he? He's been the only consistent player throughout the season. So, yeah, we're pleased for him.
I think him I would have said Kilman at the start, but Kilman seems sort of derailed a little bit. What do you make of the defence last night? Because them 2 goals, when you watch them back, they're literally carbon copy goals. The first one comes in, Mav. For me, I would argue this to the cows come home. Mav's got to deal with that. Yeah, I mean, he's the first defender that has sight of the ball. He's got to at least approach the ball and allow the ball to go sort of through. Is a criminal, really. And the second goal, I believe it's more on Kilman, if anything. What you saying, mate?
Yeah, I don't know about the second one. I've only seen the goals back once. I was at the other end of the ground. I couldn't quite understand it from where I was sat. I just didn't see what happened. And then I saw the goals back. I thought, to my point earlier, I thought we should have done a better job getting closer to Iwobi. That kind of is what it is. Players out of position. They did look tired in that second half. Like, it is what it is. We've been saying for a long time that Mavropanos isn't good enough. He doesn't come on the box well enough. We're probably going to just have to deal with it for the majority of the rest of the season because it doesn't seem that we can get Todibo back fit. It doesn't seem that he can stay fit for a long period of time. I do think you'll see that improve if and when Todibo does come back. But I looked at Mavropanos, especially for the first one, if I remember rightly, as one where it's coming across and he's just got to get in. I can't remember if he can put his foot through it or if he can put his head on it, but it looked like he could have cut it out, but he left it thinking that the keeper was going to get it, not knowing that there was a man running in behind. If you ain't sure, just get rid. And if he gets rid of that first one, we're absolutely fine. And we're sitting pretty until later on in the game. And the second one looked pretty similar. I can't remember if it was either one of their faults, but again, we didn't stop it at the source, and there was a confusion between the centre backs. So it looks more of a communication and a leadership issue, which has been pretty consistent as a problem throughout our entire season. So a lot of improving to do. I do think Mavropanos will hopefully be gone by at the end of the season. If not, he'll be 4th choice because we have to get another centre back in, but. I think Potter will sort those kind of issues out in the long term. It's going to take some time.
What do you make of Graham Potter, mate? Because I do feel that he's come into this sort of environment. He's working with a sort of makeshift Carabao Cup side against Premier League opposition who are pretty fully strengthened. Not his first choice defence, not his first choice attack. What you made of his basically his first 2 games?
Yeah, I mean, his front 3 would have been completely different if everyone's fit, realistically, wouldn't it? Would have been completely different. It will be exciting to see once he does get his whoever he signs. I'm sure we'll come on to that in a bit. If he manages to sign a number 9 and we get Bowen with Somerville back fit, it'd be interesting to see what he does with the team. And it'd be quite exciting to see what he does with the team as well. I think the fact he's managed to grind a result out against the Fulham team that, let's make no mistake, have done really well this season.
Unbeaten in 9.
Yeah, I was just going to say they're in really, really good form. They've come to London Stadium, put in probably their best possible performance and weren't able to beat us. And we've come away with the 3 points. And it tells me everything that I need to hear that Marco Silva was crying in his press conference after the game about how brilliant they were and that only one team turned up to win the game. I'm not being funny. Your team may have turned up to win the game, but you're playing against West Ham's B team. And we still put 3 past you. You can dress it up however you want. I didn't expect us to create a lot with a false 9 and then a right winger who likes to drop in and get the ball and a centre midfielder playing on the left wing. I didn't really expect us to create a lot. So for us to have come away with 3 tells a lot about the nature of the performance from the players and how we set them up. So really pleased with what he did in the first game. I'm not going to get carried away with Graham Potter. There's people going nuts over how great he is already. I'll give him credit where it's due. I think we're going to need to give him time. I think we did get a bit lucky, but mate, the impact he's had so far, just in the nature of the performances, really impressed so far. So.
I am getting a bit carried away because I looked at the odds today of West Ham to finish in the top 10, and they're 11-2. West Ham to finish in the top 10, and we're only 2 points off 10th. I think it is currently right now. For me, I think he's going to start getting a tune out of these players. I really do. Lucas Paqueta's been shit for a long time. He scored two goals in 2 games. Now, fair enough, you can say the goal yesterday was a lucky goal, but for me, I look at him and I think if you can get him going, get back Bowen. Yeah, Mo's not a shit player, right? Everyone keeps saying, "Oh, Mo's shit. Mo's this. Mo's not shit." Do you know what I mean? And it seems like we're too fond of keep knocking our own fucking players. Now, a player who is shit is Mavropanos because he costs us goals and he costs us points. Mo's not a shit player. If he can get his team sort of on the pitch that he's got to hand right now, we've got half a chance of at least getting in the top 10 for me. I have seen enough from him to go, you know what, this man's respected by the players. I think the fan base believe in this man also, and I get the hype. Don't get me wrong, I understand it. Yeah, because I'm on that train. I believe in this geezer because I think this geezer knows exactly what he wants to do. Um, he's not scared to play the youth. I see people having the ump yesterday about him not playing Skulls. It's not a problem. Skulls come on and made an impact at the back end of the game, didn't he? He had to do his job there, and I think if we all just look at this and go, right, he's gonna integrate the youth. You give him a couple of players this window, and then the summer he clears out all the deadwood and attacks it from the summer onwards. Then I think the future is very bright, mate. Do you know what I mean? With Lopetegui, yeah, we all knew at the start of the summer that this is either going to go one or two ways. It's either going to go incredibly good or it's going to go fucking unbelievably shit. And it went unbelievably shit. And I think with Potter, I think he's a builder. Someone said it on TalkSport the other day. The man's a builder. He builds up teams to a level, and that's what we need. We need someone who can come in and build up. So yeah, I do believe in him, Jay. I like his interviews. I like his post-match interview yesterday, where he's being honest. Like, he's not lying about it. Like, we wasn't great, but we managed to get over the line. He understands that. He's a Premier League manager, and he's got was it a degree in psychology, isn't it?
Something on those lines, I believe. Yeah.
So this man knows exactly what he wants to do. What is it though? Moving forward, do you think he needs? Because obviously the transfer window's open. We've been linked with players, and one of our players, we will never see Jay with the flares off in East London if Guilherme goes to Saudi. What are you saying about that?
Oh God. Where do we start? Your first question: what does he need? He definitely needs at least one more body. I know he said he doesn't want to sign players for the sake of signing players. I respect that. I would rather him not sign anyone than sign the wrong players, personally. And we've been linked with a lot of the wrong players. Let me tell you that right now.
Yeah.
There's a lot of names that I know everyone in chat, yourself, James, everyone who's a West Ham fan will look at names and go, Jesus Christ, where has that come from? And like, this person is way too expensive, and
it's
this,
like
that, and the other. So
it's like the old Yellow Pages. They open it up and it falls back to the people from 5 years ago. Do you know what I mean?
The thing that's most concerning with that, though, is like there's actual substance, and like the respected sources are starting to come out of it. That's what's more. You can deal with rumors of like big names, like the John Duran thing, which actually, again, like respected sources have come out and been like, no, that actually did happen. I'm like, okay, well, we as sensible West Ham fans can go that was never going to happen, so that's fine. Looking at those names is fine, but when you look at transfers that I go, we could probably get that player, and there's absolutely no reason for us to be bidding for him. And by that I mean Awoniyi. Like, if we've got £20 million to spend and we get Taiwo Awoniyi, then that is the strangest signing and the strangest spending of £20 million that I've ever seen. And the vision is starting to become clearer in that it's one out, one in if you're going to sign a player. The links for Guilherme to go to the Middle East, and then the links with players that we'd probably value at around £20 million, Awoniyi, Rodrigo Muniz as well. It makes sense from a player trading perspective. Just doesn't make sense from what are we actually doing at West Ham? Like, what is the goal? What is the vision? Because I was told the vision was, with Guilherme, you're signing the next big thing. Forget about trying to get anything big from him for the next year or two, but he will grow and he will get better. If we're robbing Pete to pay Paul and we're selling a prospect just so that we can get Taiwo Awoniyi in, and then we watch this kid go and develop and then bag a 60-70 million pound transfer in 3 years' time to one of the big boys, then what have we done? We've gone and signed an injury-prone second choice Nottingham Forest striker and sold what is supposed to be a real top prospect. I just don't get the vision, mate. I'd rather we not sign anybody, keep the squad how it is, because Bowen's back soon and some of us back soon, and just try and get through the season. I don't know about you, but I'm confused, mate.
Where do I fucking begin? Right, first off, in the summer, the hype train on Tim Steidten on social media was electric, and YouTube. I'm going to be honest, right? Because on this channel, I'm fucking honest, and I don't flip flop from side to side, straight down the line. People were blowing smoke up Tim Stein's arse, saying he was going to do this, and this. He's done fuck all, right? He delivers us a Brazilian youngster, wonder kid. all the young fans who are like under the age of like 25 down all get hyped up because he's a FIFA fucking prospect. Yeah, and they look at him on FIFA and think he's amazing, right? But people like myself look at it and think, well, what are we gaining from this geezer? We need players now. We don't need players for 2 years' time. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't understand why the geezer's not been given a chance. Like, because he hasn't really been given a chance. He's come on for minutes. And if he is your man, like you say, Jay, right, you loan him out. You loan him out somewhere. You loan him out to a place in Europe or like Belgium or somewhere and just let him go and unleash. For some reason, right, West Ham are going back to the old days of like, just like you say, one in, one out. And we can't keep doing that to a point because we're going to have to sell about four of our big hitters to sort of really revamp the side. So yeah, I'm not happy about this one. I'm not happy about it. Right? I don't understand the vision of it. I don't understand what they're trying to do. Is it a Tim Stein fuck up? Probably. Let's be real.
Should we just quickly look at it? Like, let's look at the other side of the coin as well, because we like to be balanced on E20, don't we, James? We like to be balanced. So if we look at the other side of the if we look at the other side of the coin, right, and we say Tim Stein perhaps had his vision in the summer, and this is the first January where they're trying to engineer Tim Steiden's exit from the club. So do you think this is the biggest middle finger that David Sullivan could be putting up to Tim Steiden by 100%. Saying, you've signed this youth player that you think is going to be good in 2 years. I don't care what you think. I'm going to sell him. We'll try and break even. And then your vision is in tatters. Because the whole prospect of that signing is one of two benefits that you could have from signing Luis Guilherme. One, he turns into a top quality player in a couple of years and you invested early and then he became brilliant. Or two, you invest in a player who's pretty good. The first chance you get to turn a profit on him, first chance you get to sell him for like 35, 40 million, you sell him. It's good business. It still works. That's the two reasons. In this instance, Sullivan can go, well, I can just take the money and run. And he gets a bit of 25 mil, maybe a little sell-on clause, and he just cashes in and goes, don't care about your vision. I need money now. We need to go and sign Taiwo Awoniyi. And Tim Steiden sits there tearing his hair out. That's another way that I've looked at this and been like, that is possibly what's going on as well.
I'm not going to disagree with you on that. I really ain't, right? Because I think you're pretty spot on that. The issue is we're damned if we do and we're damned if we don't. If we go with Steiden, yeah, we don't know what we're going to get served up. We're getting served up players who want to punch our ex-manager. We're getting players like fucking Guilherme who can't even get on the pitch. And then you've got, if you get rid of Steiden, right, then you've got David Sullivan at the helm. Do you know what I mean? Which is worse. Which is, well, that's the World War III of West Ham at the minute. Do you know what I mean? We have him in charge of our transfers. The issue is why are we having to sell players, right? When we've got rid of Deck 2 years ago this summer, we've got assets there like Mo who will be going. Surely they can't just put the money in there and then reimburse the money at a later date when they get rid of Mo. Do you know what I mean? Unless people ain't prepared to pay the 85 mil for Mo. That could be another thing. And also, people keep forgetting about the Lucas Paqueta situation. He's another one that if he gets banned, we're without him. So we've got to replace him to a point. So that's a major issue. I don't know where to land on it, Jay, if you want me to be honest, with the Guilherme thing. I just look at it, I hear it. If they get rid of him, it's like, well, you've wasted 6 months when we could have bought a player in and developed him over a period of time in that time, especially in the midfield area, because that's where we've been most light all season. What do you make of the striker front with the links to Menez? Is it?
Yeah, not blown away by that as well. He had a good spell early on last season, mid part of last season. I thought he had a good spell. He scored a bag load of goals. Why can't he keep Raul Jimenez out the team if he's worth the supposed 30 million that they want, but Raul Jimenez is keeping him out the sides? Like, again, it's not inspiring. If you're getting quoted that kind of price, move on. I still maintain we'll sign. I still believe we'll sign Evan Ferguson at the end of the window. I think he'll come in on loan. I think Brighton, once they've got Welbeck and João Pedro fit, I think they'll go, yeah, we probably do need to give this guy some minutes. He'll be desperate for some minutes. I don't know how genuine his injury actually is. It's quite funny that he got, and this is pure speculation. I've got no information on this, but it was quite interesting that he got injured as soon as the links to West Ham came up right at the start of January. Potter got announced. we registered an interest in Ferguson and suddenly he was out. I reckon he's kicking up a bit of a stink behind the scenes. On that player as well, there's a lot of people will go, yeah, he ain't playing for Brighton, he's shit. Everyone loves to do that about every player, I swear. The kid signed for Brighton, I think at the age of 18, 19, from an Irish, a League of Ireland side, Bohemians. I remember he got into the side. He scored a lot of goals for an 18-year-old. Potter's the one who gave him his debut. Potter will know the player really well. If we're looking for value for money and a short-term solution, which, let's face it, we're best off taking just a short-term solution at the moment, in my opinion. I'd rather we don't go and spend 20 mil on injury-prone Awoniyi from Nottingham Forest. If we can get this guy in on loan, yes, we're probably developing a player for someone else. Yes, if he does well, his value goes up. So what? We need somebody to come in for 4 months and do a job. At the end of the summer, when we suddenly get a chance to actually do something and sign a striker, then we go in and sign someone. And the questions about this guy, why isn't he starting over Welbeck from Starboy in the chat? Great question. He's probably not the best quality in terms of what they're offering right now. Welbeck's done really well. João Pedro's done really well. But we have to be pragmatic. Would you rather spend 20 million on Nottingham Forest's second choice striker, 30 million on Fulham's second choice striker, or get a loan deal for Brighton's second/third choice striker? I'd probably take the loan deal personally, just because it's better value for money and there's less risk involved with it. Personally, that's my preference. Personally,
I actually agree with you. Or for me, go down the route of sorting out the midfield. And then basically in that time, Bowen will be back. Because obviously you got to weigh this up. You got Palace on Saturday, you got Villa the following Sunday, then you got Chelsea on the Monday, and then we've got a break due to the FA Cup. So we've got enough time. We've got weeks. Instead of we've got a game every sort of 3 or 4 days, right? We've got weeks in advance. So for me, if we can go and sort out the midfield point, and midfield areas, obviously Dewsbury would be a great signing for West Ham. He really would. He's young. I thought he was excellent at Leicester. I think that would be an ideal signing for us. The striker front is an issue, but I think we might be able to get round it, right? Just until the end of the year. But I agree with you. Do you really go and pay 20 mil out for a man who you might only get 5 games out of or 8 games out of in the season? If he's consistently injured, then what's the point? Latte Lath, right, is the one that really sort of bugs me a little bit, because that's someone where you could sign for 18 mil. If he does decent in 6 months and you don't want him, a team that comes up from the Championship might want to take him. And you could sell him. You could either sell him for the same money or make a small profit on him. I don't understand why West Ham are not going in the Championship market. I really don't. I don't know about you, Jay.
Yeah, I agree. You've touted a couple of Championship names previously. Hayden Hackney, I think you were a fan of as well. Latte Lath, if he's going to Atlanta United, and we've looked at him, I think it's just the money situation, mate. I don't necessarily reckon it's FFP. There's got to be something with cash flow. There's got to be something going on behind the scenes that is stopping our owners from actually putting their hand in their pocket. Because even they'll look at this first team, and I can kind of subscribe to the idea that Bowen's not far from being back. Do we just grin and bear it? I think the best thing that could happen for West Ham in terms of results is that we go and beat Crystal Palace. We get back-to-back wins for, I think, the first time this season. But the worst thing that could happen for our transfer window is we go and beat Palace. We get back-to-back wins, and the owners go, "You're all right, Graham. You've got Jared Bowen coming back soon. You've got Summerhill coming back soon. You'll be fine." And we'll just play with a bare bones for the rest of the season. Hence, I'd probably just get a striker in. Personal preference. If you can get Evan Ferguson, I probably would just get him on loan. If you have the money, I agree with you. Latte Lath sat there. He's very highly rated. I haven't watched enough of him to know if he's the next come in. But at the same time, he seems to be the right profile for us to get someone who's going to grow and get better, as opposed to get someone who's probably in the second half of their career and is at their peak already and going to go downwards. So that's just the kind of profile I would look for anyway.
The thing is with us is that what you were just saying there about players and everything, and I see people in the chat saying it, that's what worries me with Sullivan in regard to Potter, because Potter might need players, but will Sullivan deliver the players he actually genuinely needs? Now, the thing is, he needs help in this window. Right, if we can save this season, really, to a point, right? Because when you look at the table's very compact, and we're only a few we're only 4 points off of Fulham, I think it is. Yeah, Fulham have been on an unbeaten run in the last 9 before they got beat by us. So, the season can be sorted out, and we can sort of move up the table and look towards the top 10 at the very least. But will Sullivan do it for him, though, mate? That's the worry that I've got. That's the one thing that worries me every single time with a manager. Now, I look at Potter right now, Jay. I think Potter's the right fit for West Ham. I think he's someone who can come in and he's going to build West Ham up, right? But he needs the financial resources to do that in order for that to happen. What concerns me is Sullivan, mate, if I'm being honest. It really does.
I couldn't agree more. Exponential said the right thing in the chat there. Like, they don't tend to do the right thing. They'll tend to look at this and be pretty like reluctant to do anything, because like the easy way to look at this season, the way a lot of people are looking at this, like myself included to an extent, because I know this club well enough, is the season's probably dead and we probably haven't got anything to play for. The board would probably accept 13th or 14th now and go, write this one off, we'll build again in the summer. If you look at it from what we could do, we could go and invest in like a good signing for 15 to 20 mil and get a player on loan. And if they're the right players and players come back to fitness, you've then got the squad to kick on and try and finish 10th. And if we finish 10th, we would all sit there and go, we've actually made the most out of a really poor season. If a poor season for West Ham ends in 10th place, we're doing the right things. But knowing, as you said, knowing what Sullivan's like, he'll see. I actually think we will do Palace on the weekend as well, and he'll look at that and go, "We'll just see what's available on deadline day," and he'll see what deal he can get. Which is why, I know there was talk about a partnership with Amazon with AWS, which would be good for the club and would be good for our recruitment strategy. Once we move to like a more data, more like scientific approach towards everything at the club, it means Sullivan can't just he can, but if anyone who's worth their salt, who's in the technical director position, head of recruitment position, technical recruitment analysis, whatever the funky names are for it, anyone who's in those positions will be able to go, well, this is actually the data that proves we should go for this player, as opposed to Sullivan taking a phone call on deadline day and going, that's the deal that I want. Like, hopefully we'll move away from that. But as far as the rest of the season goes, I do see it being very pragmatic. And I do see us I said this last week as well, we'll sit on our hands until the right deal presents itself on deadline day, I think.
I've got the table in front of me and I'm looking at the table right now and I look at 7th. Yeah, because realistically, we're nowhere near the rest of them. Yeah, we're 8 points off 7th, right? But we are only 2 points off 10th. And I do think the season needs to finish on a bit of a sort of high in order to attract players next season, if that makes sense, Jay. If we finish 14th, people might look here and you don't get that sort of star man because, mate, I know Potter's good and all that, but the league position still does matter. For me, I think it's just fucking Sullivan that worries me. He always does. Yeah. He really does. And he always sort of puts a spanner in the works. And like you say, if we go and beat Palace at the weekend, does he sit on his hands and go, you know what? He's actually doing all right. I don't need to do nothing. He can add a couple of these youth players in. And he, like, even last night, he put in on Andy Irving. And people are going, well, fuck me. Like, how's Andy Irving getting a game? Do you know what I mean?
Honestly, that was a surprise to everyone, I think. And this is he came on and in a game where all of our players looked tired and he looked just as tired as everyone else. It was baffling. It was really baffling, but it'll hopefully explain to everyone why anyone who's been turning around and going, yeah, give Andy Irving a go. And I've been like, chill, like relax on Andy Irving. This was kind of the reason why he got a game against a pretty good side. And like, he didn't look like he was up to it. I personally wasn't rating him whatsoever. Maybe that was a bit of a, it's probably twofold. One, he kind of had to, because who else was he bringing on in centre midfield? He could have thrown Lewis Orford in there at a really important time in the game. I don't necessarily think it would have been fair on him. At least when he brought Ollie Scholes on, he was able to bring Cresswell on with him and switch to 5 at the back. So and I was terrified of Ollie Scholes against Adama Traore. I was like, this could be the breaking of this kid that we've just built to be the next big thing. And he dealt with him really, really well. So it was I thought it was really smart management to bring those two on together and change the system. But if he was going to bring Lewis Orford on, alongside Souček and Alvarez in a 3 where, let's be honest, he couldn't have done much worse than Guido Rodriguez did. Guido Rodriguez didn't have a bad game, but he didn't really do anything. But if you come on and drop the howler and we concede an equaliser, that kills that kid's confidence on his Premier League debut. So I think it was more of a, he kind of had to, and it was secondly kind of a, by the way, David Sullivan, I need players. Like, I'm having to turn to Andy fucking Irvin to actually dig us out of a hole here. So,
are you surprised that Guido's still here? Because I am a little bit.
Yeah, I'm baffled, mate. I genuinely can't believe that he's not been moved on. Maybe a move will materialise for him towards the end of the transfer window, but surely we're sticking him on the transfer list and saying, just give us an offer. Just someone offer a couple mil for him and we'll cash in. Because he was just so passive in the game yesterday. I was really disappointed that the 2 reasons he has ever got a game for West Ham are supposedly his tackling and his distribution. And I don't remember him winning a tackle, and I don't remember him passing it forwards. To be quite honest, so he was just the third man that was just occupying the space that Souček and Alvarez weren't occupying, and Souček and Alvarez did all the dirty work, and he just kind of stood there and occupied a space. So
let's look into the future. If you take him out and you put in Dewsbury, completely different West Ham, then, isn't it?
Completely different, mate. Completely different. Maybe part of the vision is that he'll drop Soler back there. I think after Paqueta's first 2 games, Paqueta's going to be a guaranteed starter as well. He's going to he has to have liked what he's seen so far. The work rate, a goal in each game. Like, maybe he drops Paqueta into the midfield 3. Maybe he plays 4-2-3-1 at some point. Who knows? The formation we've been desperate to see at some point this season. Maybe he switches to that. One thing is, he's a very versatile manager. So we will probably see stuff that we haven't seen so far this season. We'll probably see players in positions we haven't necessarily seen in this season. Maybe we'll see Kudus go central at some point. Like, who knows? But I agree with you. If that flat 3 involves Dewsbury Hall, it's an exciting midfield 3 to look at.
I'm going to be honest. I think it's very, very good. I think if you take Guido out, you bring Dewsbury Hall in, a loan deal, I'm all for that one. There's a few questions there. One's from Joan. Shout out to Joan. What's happening with Areola? Wasn't on the bench last night.
Apparently, he's just back to fitness. Apparently, he has had a knock and he's just back to fitness. Maybe he's thrown a wobbly, and Graham Potter's talked him down. Like, who knows? You can never tell with this guy. We know that he had a run-in with Lopetegui previously. He probably wasn't happy. Lopetegui probably didn't help that. Maybe he's had a wobbly and he's met with Graham Potter and Potter's managed to persuade him to come back into the fold. Maybe he was injured and maybe he's back now. Who knows? But apparently he's ready to come back and he'll be in the squad for the weekend.
What do you make of the sort of, how can I put it? Resurrection is the word of Lucas Paqueta over the last 2 games, when beforehand he's been nowhere. So
I've said this before. I'm never one to needlessly dig out Lucas Paqueta. I've never said he's a shit footballer because I don't believe he is. He's a confidence player. I've said that all along. When the charges were first levied against him, he was just a shadow. He was nowhere near the player that he was prior to that. There's a reason he was on the verge of moving to City for 85 mil, and then it fell apart because of this, and we just didn't see the same guy come back. Then under Lopetegui, I don't think anyone really understood what was going on. I don't think he understood his role in the team to start with when he got dropped deeper. And then he's been kind of trying to just figure out how to sort himself out mentally, I believe. Then you look at him being given this new lease of life, being given a bit more of a purpose in the sides, and just being given the confidence. I guarantee Potter is a great man motivator. He's a good man manager. And he's got 2 goals in his first 2 games under the new gaffer. I don't think it's rocket science. I think there's still a player in there. And hopefully he just keeps building on it. What I want to see is he had all of his individuality just coached out of him. Completely coached out of him.
True. So true.
But, because he was a little bit of a liability in front of the back 4. Do you know what? It's part of the reason I enjoyed watching him in his first season under Moyes. He was a bit of a liability, but my God, was he fun to watch.
He had like a free roll, didn't he, to a point?
Yeah. He would drop in and get the ball off the centre backs. Is he going to try and beat 3 players on the edge of his own box? Is he going to spray a 40-yarder? Is he going to play a simple ball? I had no idea, and I absolutely loved it. Sometimes he would bait 2 players into the press, and he would skin them with no one else around him other than the goalkeeper. And I absolutely loved people shrieking and covering their eyes around me in the stands, and I'd just laugh. because I'm like, this is what I want to see in a West Ham player, somebody who just goes out there and has some fun and like plays the exciting side of the game. He was that guy and he lost it. So I hope he gets some of that individuality back and he gets that confidence back, because Lucas Paqueta is at his best when he's empowered to go out and do what he does best. So if he can empower Lucas Paqueta, we might have a really fun last 2 months of him ever playing football. So like we might actually get to see like prime Lucas Paqueta come back. I hope we do. Like, we'll see. But certainly, as somebody mentioned in chat there, Paqueta and Alvarez, they were the two players who had been shells of themselves, really, and both of them have looked really good. So hopefully it continues, mate.
Alvarez was good last night. I'm going to be honest. He's a sort of player that I don't know what happened to him, but over the last sort of 6, maybe 9 months to a point, he's been up and down. Like, you have a half decent game, then he'll fall apart. And like, look at City the other week when he doesn't even go for an header, and he's a defensive midfield enforcer. Then last night he seemed to be in positions, right, in the right positions, and nothing rash last night. He wasn't going diving in and like just being an idiot to a point. Like, it's like people have said, right, just stay there. So yeah, I thought Alvarez was good last night. I've got 2 things I want to discuss with you before we wrap this up. The first thing is the change of tactics after 20 minutes. Bruno Salter, is it? Hit the thumbs up.
Yeah, something like
that. What did you make of that? Because he spotted it straight away. And I'm going to be honest, when you're watching it on TV, and anyone in the chat who watched it on TV last night, you could see it straight away change. Right, West Ham were under it, and all of a sudden they done it. And I even asked someone on the afterthought. I said, "Can someone tell me what he actually done there?" Because you noticed it straight away that West Ham were on the ball more. Kudus was picking the ball up. I thought it was excellent, really excellent tactical switch.
Yeah, I like, as I said, from where I was sat, the symptom of the change was Kudus's position. You could see how much further advanced he was, and he was trying to run in behind. And it's like Fulham finally had to think about something, as opposed to the whole game being played in front of their back four, and we didn't have anybody making any runs. It was what looks like quite a simple change, but we hadn't seen anything like that all season. We hadn't seen that kind of ability to just change a tactic as opposed to like change a player within the first 20 minutes. So I was really, really impressed with the fact that they spotted one change and it changed the whole first half. And we were a better team. After 20 minutes, we were a better team for the rest of the first half. Thought we were absolutely brilliant. Some of the football we were playing was excellent as well. We were just creating more spaces, stretching their back four. Kudus occupying the space that Robinson left was just such a big threat. And even though like his output, his final ball, like he didn't really have any shots. He didn't really get any crosses in, but just where he was and what he was doing was so smart that it was a stroke of genius. So yeah, fair play to him for spotting that and changing it so quickly.
Yeah, I've got to be honest. I thought it was excellent. I really did. Carlos Soler, Jay, keep or let go?
Let's give him his flowers when he's due them, right? Because fair play to him. He was playing on the left. He looked uncomfortable, like position wise. He didn't want to be wide, and we needed someone who was going to be wide, but he just wanted to tuck in, and he ended up playing almost like a left-sided 10 for a lot of the game. But my God, can that boy run? We knew what he's good at. We know that man can do some cardio. And I'd thought he's only going to do cardio today, and like I'm kind of fine with it. But he pops up with an absolutely unbelievable finish and deserved his goal. Really good performance. But let's just relax on him a little bit. I'm not going to... I see the timeline. A few people going, activate that option now. Buy him. 27 mil and he's on 200K a week. Relax. Like,
if I said to you right now, Jay, I'm going to put this to you. Yeah. Is it Joe Bellingham?
Yeah.
Or Soler? Who are you going for?
I think I'd take Joe Bellingham. To be honest, I think I'd take Joe Bellingham. But Joe Bellingham's got a higher ceiling. He's going to keep improving. I think Soler's probably at his peak. Soler's on crazy money. You'd have to pay him upwards of $100,000 a week for him to consider coming to West Ham. And Joe Bellingham, you wouldn't have to pay him anywhere near that. I think this is why when you consider what you can get for £27 million in the transfer market, especially in the summer, there's a lot more that you could do with £27 million. No disrespect to Carlos Soler. I just think, as of right now, if he's got to go and score like another 5-6 goals this season and another 4 or 5 assists, and play out of his skin every week for him to justify £27 million. £27 million is a lot of money. That's going to be more than like 30% of our transfer budget in the summer if we don't sell. So yeah, I'd say relax on Carlos Soler a bit. Let him keep playing, let him keep doing what he's doing. But anyone calling for us to activate his buy clause immediately, like just chill, man. Just chill.
Well, there is a man in here, Richard. Let's see what he's got to say. Rich, what you saying?
Hello, gentlemen. Give me 1 second. Let me just sort myself out.
The Watcher.
I'm doing a West Ham summer transfer window right now. I'm just in a bit of a mess. Look, what a win. Graham Potter, the man. What more can you say? Pulling it off last night with 5 central midfielders in that starting lineup against a Fulham side.
5 central midfielders, yeah. No, go on, carry on. I'm just thinking about it now. Unreal.
Relentless plaudits this season. And we rode our luck at times, but actually, I think we rode the game really well. You know, we were so different to earlier in this season where it was just like, fucking hell, we've got the ball, right? Everyone go forward, let's score a goal. It was just take a minute, reposition, get our shape back, and then we can play. And it was, you know, look, it wasn't the perfect viewing experience. Who gives a fuck? I mean, this style of play thing, as has been proven this season, is complete bollocks, right? Every West Ham fan just wants to see their team winning. Yeah, and I'm looking forward as well when Potter does get his hands on these players. They are going to be playing a nice cultured style of football. But what I liked most yesterday, they looked like an actual football team, you know, which is so far from it this year. Yeah.
I agree.
What about you, gents?
I agree with you 100%. I've always said this for a long time. Style of play comes and goes, but winning football matches is the main thing that we all want. Yeah, we could look good and lose every week, and I say it quite openly, and people go, "Oh, you're fucking like Moyes this, Moyes bollocks." But at the end of the day, Moyes won. He won us games. He won us big games and all. And if Potter can sort of get us a winning mentality, I want that more than style of play. Because if you've got a winning mentality, you can play in any style and manage to get over the line. And last night we got over the line under severe pressure. What did you make of it last night, Rich, in regards of basically the game as a whole and Graham Potter in his first 2 games, really, at West Ham? Well, you're on mute, Rich. You know what I mean? So get yourself off mute, son.
I'm just quiet. Beyond impressed. Yeah, beyond impressed. If you tuned into the space the other day, I was reading out stories about the people whose life Graham Potter had changed for the better. And what we've got in West Ham is not just a great manager, but a great human being, someone who's got a master's in emotional intelligence and effective communication. That's the kind of guy I want in my club. Okay, and I love the way you could see at Villa, he communicated with the players immediately, and we came out firing. We've got a fantastic motivator, a brilliant tactician, and I just want to pick a moment in yesterday's game. Now, you can all think back to the first sort of 20 minutes, and they had us under the cosh a little bit, and Kudus was coming really deep because he was trying to protect the defenders from Robinson, who was pushing really high, because Fulham changed their shape a bit, you know. Sometimes they play a 5 at the back. This was a bit of a hybrid, so I think they had us a little bit. And Kudus was being pushed really, really deep. So Potter changed it. There was a little moment. I think someone went down injured. He just had 30 seconds. I think it was the VAR call, and he just changed it. And he put Kudus on Bassi, and he asked Wan-Bissaka to push higher, and they all shuffled across from the left-hand side.
Yeah.
And that Kudus on Bassi created that opportunity for that initial press where Alvarez pressed Pereira, played it across the area. Soler takes his goal brilliantly. And lo and behold, 3 minutes later, again, similar kind of thing. The shape's different. Kudus on Bassi, pushing higher up. And it got us both the goals. And from that point on, you know, I'm a Potter partisan. Yeah, if you're not sure what that word is, Google it. I'm a Potter partisan, and I will be forevermore.
Well, yeah. Jay. Red.
That's why he's the Watcher. God,
Yeah.
couldn't have analysed it any cleaner myself. Yeah, I've nothing to add. Other than you, Rich, you need to go into voiceovers, bro. I could listen to that buttery smooth voice all day. I swear.
One thing I did see with Rich is he's quite famous on TikTok for his jumpers. You know what I mean? I did see the jumper come out at Christmas, mate. That was quite epic. And the lad who done it, he actually done a pre sort of Graham Potter video. So before he even got the fucking sack. So right, Rich, what do you make of the old the striker front? We've been linked with so many crap strikers at the minute, and we've been linked with another one today in Fulham's second choice striker. What are you saying about it?
Well, look, I think if you're saying 20 million quid for Latte Laf, I think you could easily make the argument that Rodrigo Muniz is a better signing. I think he did a good job at Middlesbrough. And I think he was very good last year. I think Jimenez has played well and he's deserved to start, and he has rough patches. But I think as a sort of plaster, I think Muniz wouldn't be a bad signing, with the view of him not being the main man long term. I think the problem is it comes back again to being forced to buy in January, right? And it all starts with poor recruitment in the summer. I understand the frustration around Fulker getting injured, and it's unlucky with Antonio as well. Like, we have had misfortune there. But you've got 3 strikers over the age of 30. You let Mubama go as well. What can you expect to happen? And that news today, the one I read about Luis Guilherme, we're selling him. I mean, it's just the shittest window ever. And people were like, 10 out of 10. Styling's a genius. And I think the only signings that you sort of say are really good ones are the ones that I think have been attributed to Sullivan, if you will.
On that one, I agree with you on, yeah. I've got to admit that one. Wan-Bissaka's Sullivan signing, isn't it? Straight away. Kilman is more Lopetegui. Probably Somerville is a Sullivan signing. When you sort of break him down, yeah. And the thing is, if you take the Tim Steidten love affair out of people's hearts and you really use your brains and you break them down into 3 sections, you know who's got what and from where, really, to a point. The Luis Guilherme one baffles me, mate. It really does. I remember us doing the space, and he was the first man through the door in the summer. We all remember it, and I always said this. I said, I don't understand this one. I don't understand getting him in first when it should be the last. He should be the last man to come in. Like, you build your summer transfer list, and he's the cherry on top of the cake after it's been a success. So, obviously, we'll have to see how we go. Oh dear, Rich. Anything else you want to talk about, or anything on your mind about Graham Potter?
It's nice tuning in. I like it when Jay's here as well. Great addition to the channel. I know you've been here for a while, Jay. Do you know what I mean? But I think you got to be so happy at the minute as West Ham. And my dad said it after the Villa game. I know we lost, but he said he feels like he's got his West Ham back. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you both know it, how depressing it's been this season. There's, you talk about nadirs and low points. I mean, take your pick. And it just feels now we've got a proper manager who can speak with the fans, who the fans actually like and are willing to get behind. And it's someone who actually looks like he understands the game of football as well, at least in the Premier League. So yeah, you've got to be really happy at the moment. The future is looking bright. We can't afford to play like we did yesterday. And that your title, I think you said, we got away with one.
Yeah.
And I thought last night when I saw it, I thought, fucking hell, that's harsh. But we had 3 shots on target, 1 shot off target. We did, but that's what happens when you stay in a football game and you don't fucking swarm forward and leave the back 2 ridiculously exposed and just hope you outscore the opposition.
We can't go through what we went through last night consistently, because there will be no West Ham fans left. We'll all die of a fucking heart attack of seeing that every week, literally defending for our lives. So we can't go through that all the time. When I say like last night we got away with it, in moments we did get away with it, because the first 20 minutes we were shit. We could have been 1-0 down. The last 5 minutes they should have scored. Like, Traore should have scored that chance, really. And because he spoons it and he can't shoot, that's why we nicked the win. But nevertheless, I'm going to take the win because we need it. This season's been up and down for everyone. Like, we've been absolutely piped by teams this season. And if we can just start to sort of turn the corner, and I do think top 10 can be done. We're 2 points off top 10 right now. Right, if we go and beat Palace at the weekend, we will be very much in the top 10 sort of bracket. And a lot of them teams in the top 10 are fans just to beat. Our fans just to beat Brentford at home, and like Brighton and teams like that. If we can get the players in, the only fear I've got currently right now is Sullivan, because he is the one where when if everything seems like it's going good, he will put the spanner in the work and say, you know what, I ain't bringing no one in. So anything else you want to add on to what Richard said, Jay?
No, big shout out to Rich. Your compliments are mirrored, my friend. No, Rich is right. It feels like the season's come back alive. Rich's old man's right. It feels like West Ham are back. Feels like we've got something to be excited about. I don't necessarily I'd be happy. I'd be honestly delighted if we finish 10th. I don't think we can get any higher personally. Just because I think I've got a feeling Tottenham are going to rally. I've got a feeling Manchester United are going to rally. Both those teams will click at some point, and they've got a bit more firepower than we do. So I think we'll climb the table, but I think they will as well. So that's going to make it tough. But it gives me excitement for next season. Gives me a lot of excitement for next season. Get Potter in, give Potter a full transfer window. Hopefully we get some more recruitment team around him. We'll see what happens with Tim Steiden, the mysterious man. Will he still be here next summer? Will he not? Will we get another technical director in? Who knows? But this new age of Potter's data-driven and scientific approach, I think it's gonna be fun. So it's given us at least something to enjoy for the rest of the season, and then next season, who knows, maybe we can start to dream of those European nights again. We'll see.
Yeah, I agree, mate. What do you do?
We talked about him as well. I wanted to know Jay's thoughts on young Oliver Scholes.
Do you know what, mate? So I was at the Villa game, and I was genuinely a little bit emotional at how loud the fans were singing his name the whole first half. It was so beautiful. And I've said before, we haven't got a lot of things to be excited about for the rest of the season. We haven't had a lot of up moments, but to see a young lad come through the academy, start in a really big game, and the whole crowd was behind him every time he won the ball, every time he cut the ball out, every time he did something good, which was a lot, by the way. The whole crowd were behind him, all 6,000 of us, and it was so nice to see. I was a bit gutted for him not to start last night, but Emerson coming in did brilliantly. I thought he had a really, really good game. So I think the kid's got a really big future, and hopefully he gets more chances this season. Because if him and one of the other names that we keep hearing of Casey and Orford and those kinds of players, if him and one other become first team regulars, great. We got some representation back on the pitch, but I've absolutely loved watching him play so far, and hopefully we see more of it.
What it is with Scholes, it's identity, isn't it? You're seeing what the club represents. You've got a man who's on the pitch who's representing us from basically for every generation, from the older generation, seeing Bobby Moore and all that, to my generation, I'm seeing Carrick, Cole, and all these players, Defoe come through, to the current generation, where you look at the likes of Declan Rice, who's come through, and then you got Scholes coming through and all. So, listen, at the end of the day, it's always nice to have that, and they're always going to get backed. At West Ham, that has never changed. I don't really remember a time where a player's been sort of booed or fucking criticised, as a youngster. Do you know what I mean? You bring them on, and if they're good enough, you can't lie to the West Ham fan base. That's one thing you can't do. So, it's one of them ones, but it's good to see the youngsters being given the opportunity. The only thing I will say about Emerson is, what the fuck is he retweeting West Ham Central? That's another story altogether. Do you know what I mean?
Worst guy on Twitter. I swear.
But that's another story for another time. Rich, I'm going to let you go, mate. Take care of yourself and have a great evening, mate.
Good questions, you too.
Shout out, Rich. Man.
Shout out, Rich. Jay, any final words from you, sir?
Don't think I could put anything so eloquently as Rich did, but just happy with the result, mate. Really, really happy. A gritty West Ham performance that we've lacked a lot of times this season. I'm sure I wasn't the only one that when it got back to 2-1, I was absolutely pooping my pants, thinking that we were going to concede another 2. When I had just seen the stat that Graham Potter had never lost a Premier League game from being 2-0 up. And I was like, well, this is the day.
Welcome to West Ham.
Yeah. It would have been so West Ham, wouldn't it, for us to ruin that in his first home game, his first Premier League game. But just delighted we got a bit of that grit back. It gives me a bit of excitement for when Bowen comes back, which I know will not be long now. I'm genuinely buzzing to see what Graham Potter can do with Jared Bowen. Somerville hopefully back soon as well. Yeah, look, if we can do that with none of our starting front four, then let's see what we can do for the rest of the season. So yeah, very happy, mate.
Yeah. For me, the revolution starts now, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to be honest. The only, as I've said tonight, and I've always say, my only fear is Sullivan. It's hope he delivers the players that Potter needs. I think with Potter, he's a man who knows what he wants. He knows how to sort of work with players and get the best out of players that you don't expect to get the best out of. Do you know what I mean? You only got to look at that Brighton team that he sort of worked with, the Swansea days. Right? This man knows what he's doing, and I feel. When you were discussing about West Ham on Friday night with Villa, I even said to one of my mates, funny enough, I said, it feels like the weight of West Ham has just been lifted. Everyone just feels like the pressure of going and watching West Ham, whether you're watching it in the ground or watching it on TV, and you're literally going, fuck me, we're going to get piped today. Now, I don't really feel like that. I feel like West Ham are in the game there from the start. Maybe it's because of the change of manager, but he's given these players confidence. I will say that. Yeah. Are we really selling Cornet? Let's hope so, mate. But he could come back and be, do you know what I mean? The next Kudus.
What is he? Cornet 3.0, 4.0 now? I don't know what 0.0 we're on with Maxwell Cornet.
Cornet rebooted. That's the one. You know what I mean? Right. Smash a like on the video. Subscribe to E20 Zone TV. Hit the notification bell and all of that. Try and get us to 100 likes tonight. If you get us 100 likes, I appreciate it. Do it for Graham Potter. Don't do it for me. The worst YouTube channel on the internet. Yeah, the West Ham one. And yeah, listen, I'll be back in the week, towards the back end of the week for the Crystal Palace game. I'm going to be honest, I'm actually looking forward to that game now, and I was dreading it a few weeks ago because we never get anything from there. So let's hope we can get a positive result against Palace. But from me and Jay, take care of yourselves and each other.
Come with me.